Good morning, everyone. This is Cassandra Williamson coming to you with Midday with Cassandra. This morning I was doing a live show, a breakfast thing, Cassandra in the kitchen kind of thing. And apparently during that show or just before that show, there was an ICE facility was attacked in Dallas, Texas. So my thoughts go out to the people who were killed in this senseless shooting. Biggest worry is the one thing that is on top of mind all the time that I see these things anymore now. I don't want to see. I just know it's going to be turned against trans people. I know it's going to be turned into something like it's anti-ICE. It was on the bullets. We already saw the bullets themselves that were beside the shooter had anti-ICE on them, which indicates this person was left-leaning at the very least. And the shooter is dead. We know no more details about it than that. There's a lot of speculation over on X. There's all kinds of stuff going on over there. But I hope that there is no trans connection to this beyond the fact that it's just another one of those idiotic people who think that by taking out another human, regardless of whether they agree with them or whatever's going on. They actually shot immigrants. There was just blindly shooting at a vehicle from across the street in a building into this van coming out or going into this ICE facility. People, that's just idiotic and crazy. Whoever did that, well, they killed themselves. You'll never know the full story unless you can trace it all back and pull the story together. From their online presence, I'm sure the FBI has already been doing this and digging into this thing in a big way. I know that is what's going on. They're tearing into it. They have not released details. And sometimes whenever they don't release these details, well, that just heightens the anxiety that I personally feel because I'm just deeply concerning these days because there's so much rhetoric against trans people in this country. And the slightest little thing that gets us associated with another act of violence, that will be like the straw that broke the camel's back. Okay, it will unleash a flood of vitriol and anger to and toward and against trans people in this country. And we do not deserve that. Yes, there are idiots in our group. Yeah. There are idiots in every group. There are more white men committing violent acts than any other population demographic in the country. But it does not matter what those numbers are. It just doesn't matter, folks. The narrative that has been pushed, starting from Heritage Foundation through this White House, through Ronnie Jackson, and I fully expect Ronnie Jackson to come out and say something tying it all to trans people again, because he wants to see us put away, taken away, our ability to communicate, shut down. And if you know a trans person out there, you know any people out there who are contemplating doing these idiotic things, let me know. I'll turn them in. If you don't want to, I will absolutely point the police in the right direction to get them off the streets. And let me just be clear. I don't care if it's one of us or one of them, or somebody in between, or one of the idiotic furry people, whatever the hell that is. We've got to put a stop to this stuff. All sides are prone to calling people names that maybe don't apply, but sometimes they do. I mean, all you have to do is look at the trends and the record of everything, and you can see the behaviors of some people are definitely in line with some of those ideologies from the past that we don't want to talk about. We can see all that stuff. We know it's real, no matter how much you want to ignore it. But to act on political violence is anathema. It is absolutely the opposite of what we want in this country. Don't think for a minute we don't come by it honestly, folks. Yes, we do. We've had people rebelling against all kinds of stuff from the very first decade of our existence. And federal troops were sent out to squash them in Western New York, Whiskey Rebellion stuff. Y'all familiar with any of the history? We come by all this stuff honestly. We come by political violence is not new in this country. What do you think the Civil War was all about? Political violence. Yes. We don't want it to get that far again. So I'm asking the trans people or any left-leaning person out there, you've got to stop putting a bullseye on our political enemies' backs. It doesn't matter if they've got one on ours or not. We have to be able to say and convincingly say, this is not something that we encourage or want or expect or accept. It's got to be stopped. I got an email this just moments ago, just right before I started this show. I'm not going to mention the name. This person, I've been into it before on a few things, but I'm going to read you what they said. This came in 23 minutes ago. This is a person talking to me directly, okay? I do not mourn the death of any Nazi, and neither should you. Let me see. Do you realize that one of the first things Hitler did during the Holocaust was to destroy Dr. Hirschfeld's Gender Care and Research Center? And that among the first groups he went after were those of us who are transgender. You are showing that, like Caitlyn Jenner, you're nothing more than a Nazi collaborator and traitor to the transgender community. Yeah, that's an email I got 24 minutes ago now. And that's fine. They're entitled to that particular belief. And if you're watching, you know who wrote that. And if you're the person who wrote that and you're listening to me right now, you're a fucking idiot. Can I just say that out loud? Yeah, you are a freaking idiot. Whether they're a Nazi or not, we serve for every single person in this country. I will not ever back down from that. I don't give a crap what you think about it. Every American matters to me, and their thoughts matter to me, and the beliefs that they have matter to me. I don't have to agree with any of it. But to call me a Nazi collaborator, you have got to be freaking out of your mind. You just don't know me that well, do you? I will defend Americans without caveat, without footnote, without any kind of addendum attached to that. Period. Yes, I will disagree with them wholeheartedly, and I will point it out to them and tell them they're wrong, and I have many times. But they're entitled to think and believe what they want. It's none of my business what they believe unless they start threatening people like me or you. When they start going after our lives, then that's a whole other story. And yes, they're going after our lives right now, but I'm not going to sit back here and tell them they can't think those things. Because guess what? There are idiots on our side going after them. It's deeply disturbing. I'm trying to get to a place where I can be a little bit more humorous in things, but for the past several days, it's been nothing but constant onslaught of stupidity from the left, the right, and the middle in this country. The people on the left, every single action they take gets amplified and turned into a talking point and a big billboard sign on the right, targeting all of us for the idiotic behavior of one person. The numbers don't matter. The statistics do not matter. They don't care about the statistics. They only care about that one individual and the harm that that one person caused. 1 out of 1.5 or 1.6 million of us. It doesn't matter. It only takes one to put a big, dark cloud over the whole community. And if we aren't policing our own behavior, we aren't policing our own people, if we aren't getting out of the darn echo chambers and actually doing things to stop these idiots, we're contributing to it. The person who wrote that email to me, as I said, you are an effing idiot. You are a freaking idiot because, for one thing, I'm the biggest anti-fascist person you will ever see, and I do not like fascists. They're entitled to believe what they want. Matt Walsh, calls himself a theocratic fascist. I couldn't disagree with him more. He is an absolute freaking smart guy idiot. And yes, it pisses me off. And for the past several days, I've been trying to write these little things that have to do with kind of adding a little bit of humor to it, the day in the life of a trans terrorist from Eastern Kentucky, satirically. I'm trying to make it a little funny, at least to add some humor to all of this. But my gosh, I hope that this person who shot up this ICE facility out there and killed these people out there in Dallas this morning was not trans, was not associated with or dating trans people, was not in any way associated with that, with us. Because if they are, it's going to become hell on earth for us in this country in a matter of days. And I've told people within this administration from the top down, here I am. I'm one of those trans terrorists that you think are such a bad bunch of people. While I'm fixing a pie, I fixed a pie this morning, a cherry pie for my family here. And it was good. It was really good. Didn't even put ice cream on it. Didn't need it. Cherry pie a la mode. Fixed breakfast this morning. And I'm the only one who ate it because no one else would wake up to eat anything. So it's like, really? Wow. Jamie, you're right. It didn't stop there. How many of you heard about Pete Hegseth shutting down the women's study group just this past few days, this past week or so within the military? Yep, that too. These people do not want women in the military. They're going to hide it. Michigan cherries. Oh, no, I don't know about Michigan cherries. Is that the topic I need to stay away from? And with that laughter at the end of that one, I'm kind of curious about that one. So, yeah, they shut down this group that advises the Pentagon, advises the military on recruitment for women and taking care of the needs of women in service. All of it. They were shut down that organization, and it was providing tremendous benefit for the women in the military. But you know something? Hegseth doesn't want women in the military. He's going around and around and around to do that, and he's making it look like something it's not, but he's trying to sweep up as many things as possible to make it come across as less than stupid bigotry. But, he's trying to whitewash it. That's what he's doing. He's trying to whitewash it. Abortion in the military is being outlawed. Yeah. But this particular group that was shut down, I know many of the people on that group. Right now, they're trying to figure out what the heck's going on. But I have not yet responded to a text message I got early this morning from that group. It's really, really difficult to keep a smile on your face and put one foot in front of the other when we have people who are using our differences as a means to kill people. And this person that wrote that email to me, let me read it to you again. I'm going to read this. I want this on here as a record from this person. I'm not going to say their name. They were responding to the one where I said, today America mourns the death of Charlie Kirk. I sent out an email about that. Their response, I do not mourn the death of any Nazi, and neither should you. And by the way, that alone, you don't get to police my thinking. You don't get to police the things that I believe are right and true for me. Nobody does. That's on me. Not you, nobody else, period. Do you realize that one of the first things Hitler did during the Holocaust was to destroy Dr. Hirschfeld's Gender Care and Research Center? Yeah, I know that. I do know that. And that among the first groups he went after were those of us who are transgender. Yes, I know that too. How many Americans know that? I don't know, maybe two, me and you. You are showing that, like Caitlyn Jenner, you are nothing more than a Nazi collaborator and traitor to the transgender community. Oh. Oh my God. People are just dumb as fucking buckets of rocks, right? That really just kind of gets under my skin that we have people in this community who think that I am actually a collaborator with the Nazis. You have got to be freaking kidding me. But I will defend them and their right to believe what they want to believe in this country, because I expect the same thing in return. Whether they give it to me or not, it doesn't matter to me whether they give it back or not. I don't base my behavior and actions and thinking on how other people think I should do it. Sad, none of the other military members would not publicly defend the record of serving with trans military members. I haven't heard any complaints like, yeah, glad they're gone. I have, Jamie. I've heard that. All of them swing in the same circle of the knuckle draggers over there in Pete Hegseth's circle. Many of them some of them are on active duty right now, serving as majors in the Army, whose single purpose in life seems to be to find anyone on active duty in the military who at any time in the past 20 years had a rainbow flag in the background in their office or sitting on their desk, or they went out in support of their friends who were gay or lesbian or trans. If you got a little picture anywhere in the corner that's got any of that stuff on it, this major, a doctor, this major points it out to Hegseth, points it out to the libs of TikTok, points it out to Laura Loomer, and within hours, Hegseth will respond back to those people, having done something to remove that particular person from any position of authority in the military. Janelle Mara is one of the first ones that came to mind from sometime last week or the week before, but there have been many others lately. And this one particular doctor, Dr. Chase Spears, I believe is his name, he has got a thing for LGBT people and pride flags. I mean, I really think he was probably gay and he's just trying to hide behind it or something. I don't know. But he has made a name for himself, pointing out to Pete Hegseth people who are on active duty right now who have had at any time in the past. They're reviewing these people's social media posts going back years, looking for anything that might say, oh, I support these people. Got a trans flag back there, or a progress pride flag somewhere, or maybe a thank you letter. Like if you look on my wall up in here, Department of Veterans Affairs appreciation letters. There's some up here. There's it's up a little bit higher, but there's one up top up there. They will go through and find stuff like that because it actually is about supporting LGBT veterans and appreciation for that. Came to me from one of the VA facilities in the country. I don't know. I've been to a bunch. But if this person, Dr. Chase Spears, sees something like that in any active duty person's office, within hours, that person's social media site is scrubbed, and Pete Hegseth has dealt with them. We've got rats in the nest who are trying to use ideological purity tests to make sure that any left-leaning people in the military who dare speak up are cast out. That's what we're dealing with. But this thing down in Texas this morning, oh my God, I hope that this person who shot that ICE facility up has nothing whatsoever that can tie them to the trans community. Nothing at all, because that will be another one of those straws that draws us down. And let me see right here. Jamie, you're saying you think the majority of troops against us? And no, I don't. The vocal ones, the people who aren't against us, are afraid to speak up, because the moment they speak up, they'll be called out and penalized for it. That's what we're seeing. We're seeing it right now. There are people afraid to talk to me and don't want me sending them any kind of communications because they're afraid that someone like Loomer, they'll be loomered. They're going to be loomered and forced into hiding and stay there, because these idiots think they have a right to police the thinking of every single person and make them all look like the Fuhrer. And yeah, that's Trump, if you don't know who that one is in this case. The majority aren't against us, but they're not in a position to do anything about it. They know that if they speak up or say something, they'll be on the street in 6 hours. They're afraid to talk. You've got this major, Dr. Spears, first hint of leftist thinking, or any person who is ideologically not conservative. Oh, he goes after them. I really think he has a corn cob stuck up his butt, or a big stick. I don't know what it is. He maybe needs to step out of the closet. Or maybe I just need to go ahead and send him, maybe I did already over on Twitter, send him the gospel of St. Marcia, or the gospel of Harvey Milk. I did create those things over the weekend. They're like a couple of pages long, 4 minutes of reading. It's from their lives. But there's the gospel of St. Marcia P. Johnson and the gospel of Harvey. And I know it's irreverent. I don't care. Oh, goodness. Jeez. Here's your other comment too, Jamie. Sad none of the other military members will not publicly defend the record of serving with trans military members. Yeah, I did read that one. But yeah, they can't, because they'll be kicked out too. And they have families. Most of these people, I understand them. They got families to feed and take care of, and they have their careers to take care of. But at some point, you've got to have the courage of your convictions and face the consequences of supporting people you know who need your support. That's why I was disappointed when the superintendent of the Naval Academy, Admiral Davids, when she was removed and replaced with a well-deserving, the Marine general who took over is very much highly qualified, very, very well respected, fully capable of doing that job. But Admiral Davids took a job at the Pentagon in a subsidiary role, in kind of a support role. Moved out of a senior leadership position that has a lot and lots of prestige associated with it, to a supporting staff role at the Pentagon. In my opinion, she should have resigned with cause and made a statement about it, because we know where Hegseth comes from. We know that he doesn't want women leading men in any capacity. We know that his faith, his religious views dictate that women should not even have the right to vote. We know that that's who he is. That's what he believes. That's what his church believes. We know that this same bunch of faith people also think that no women should be in Congress, in any leadership capacity within the country at all. So I would have resigned for cause if I were Admiral Davids, to make a statement, because that's exactly what he's doing, and he's shielding it in platitudes. He's playing a game with these people's lives, moving her into a support role. I would suspect that in 6 months she'll be forced out entirely. If any military member has got one of those pride flags flying around in their past, over the past 20 years, if they've supported anyone in the LGBT community, or if you've been to a wedding, let's say, of any of your friends and the picture showed up somewhere and it's got you in it, well, Dr. Chase Spears, if he finds that, he's an active duty major. If he finds that, he reports it to Pete Hegseth. Pete Hegseth takes action to remove them. He's not the only one. Libs of TikTok, they have a thing up their butt too about anybody who actually thinks differently than they do. They are wanting ideological purity across the whole of the federal government. Just look at Oklahoma. Ryan Walters putting Turning Point USA in every high school in the state. Ideological purity. And, they're going to say, oh, we got to let them do their little thing. We're going to have a seance here next week. Invite everybody in to support Jesus. I'm using those words deliberately, just so you know. So it's hard to find a way to laugh from a day like today and a day like the other day. And so me doing the day-to-day thing, a day in the life of a transgender terrorist from Eastern Kentucky, I do it tongue-in-cheek, but I do tag every person I can think of at the senior level across all of government. And I have told Bondi's office, on Twitter, hey, you need to put me on top of that list, y'all. I've got things to do. You're going to come down here and help me fix that cherry pie I fixed this morning. If you're watching the live feed this morning from when I was in the kitchen, I fixed that cherry pie, and I made it the way I like to make it, which is with some brown sugar mixed in, which is just really decadent. Mix it into the cherries and put it in the pie and put the top on that thing and put some egg wash over the top of that. And then, whew, goodness, I have had a bite and it is delicious. I did fix some eggs, though, to kind of offset that. I had to eat something healthy. Yeah, so I fixed some red, green, and yellow peppers, sauteed those with some tomatoes, and put in, what else I put in there? Oh, some ham slices or chunks, ham chunks. I put some ham chunks in there and had that on the side with my eggs. Ordinarily, I would make it and convert that into kind of like a egg sourdough or an eggs Benedict kind of thing, leaving off the bread underneath. But I would put all that in there, put the bread down or the spinach down and the sauteed onions and peppers and all that stuff in there, and then put the egg on top of that. It could be a fried egg or a scrambled egg or poached egg, done any particular way. But if you want to make it as a hillbilly egg sourdough, you put a slice of American cheese on top of that, maybe some pepper jack cheese, and let that melt over that, and put some Cajun seasoning on top. And oh my God, it's so delicious. Or you could go another route and put some spinach in there, tomatoes and avocados, put a little bit of hollandaise sauce on there with it. And you can buy it in little packs. You don't have to make it yourself. It's exactly the same thing in the pack as you making it yourself. Only you don't have to spend so much time trying to get all those yellows put together with all that butter. Hollandaise sauce is awesome. You can sprinkle that Cajun seasoning over the top of that, and it is just so darn good. Oh my God. So that was Cassandra in the kitchen this morning. And I did not know that this shooting had occurred maybe an hour or two before I did my live show, maybe 2 hours prior to that. So I finished up my show. I get some stuff taken care of for Mom, make sure she's got food. I clean up some in the kitchen, in a little bit. I've got a sister who she's very OCD. She'll go in, my disabled sister, she goes in and cleans out the sink, cleans everything up in it, rinses it all spotlessly clean, works in that, and just works her little hands off and heart off right there in that sink and making sure that stuff's rinsed off really well. And then she organizes it. Big items on the bottom, medium, up, and they are neatly stacked and ready for me just to stick a little bit of soap in the water and go, done. It's a big help, really. So I make sure I try to leave her something to do because, she finds her joy and peace in that. And particularly when I go in and say, Irma, thank you so much. I appreciate your help with that. That's a big help. So that's basically a lot of my day. And then I come back to my back room, and this is my brother's house. Okay, my brother's home. I was invited to come in here to help them with the caregiving requirements of this home. And lately it's become much, much more challenging because I'm having to take the bed sheets off of my mom's bed where she's peed in the bed. I go in and take care of that. I get her dressed. Here lately, I've had to put some butt rub on her, not the butt rub for cooking, some crack cream on some open sores on her behind, taking care of that because, that hurts. It really hurts her badly. So I checked her oxygen. Before she got out of the bed, it was 87. And when I got her up and got her to the bathroom, got her into the living room, it was at 97. So I didn't need to give her the oxygen. The getting up and moving around actually did help quite a bit. And I checked her blood sugar level. It was 106, which perfect, it's fine, great. 86-year-old woman, absolutely. It's perfectly good. I'm good with that. If it goes over 151 and up, then I have to give her like 20 units. But that's in the early morning and evening. So along the way, balancing all this stuff out. So I fixed that cherry pie, thinking that maybe it'll raise and keep her blood sugar elevated just a little bit, because I don't want it to bottom out either. So I'm trying to balance all this stuff out. In the meantime, I've got this terrorist training camp going on, satirically. Yeah. It's raining so hard out here, I'm afraid I would just melt. I won't float down the creek. I'm not going to float away. There was a time when I probably could have floated, but right now, just way too much for that. Anyway, so that has consumed my morning. Then I made it in here and I see the news headlines. I got a monitor, a TV monitor over top of my other two monitors. I got a monitor here and a monitor there for my computers. And TV is running up here at the top. Right now, I just see the image and, I have it on Fox News. I put it on Fox News deliberately because, you know why? They talk about things that actually I need to address. It doesn't bother me to listen to these people. I don't agree with them on anything. Well, I'll take that back. There's some things I probably do agree with them on. For instance, I'm totally with them on blowing the boats out of the water that had those narco terrorists on them. Because I know too many people here in the hills who've become addicted on those darn drugs. I know too many people here who have died from overdoses. Too many people here who have to go to the drug clinic just to try to keep from having to be on the other drugs. So they switch from one illegal drug to another legal drug. No problem solved whatsoever. They just went from illegal to a legal source of drugs. And it's just mind-blowing to me. But I do know that there have been a lot of people who come get into pain issues with the mines and working around the mines. But a lot of these people are young people. Mines haven't even been a part of their lives here in a decade. So that's not what it is. Not what it is at all. I don't really know what it might be, but I can tell you that there's a huge problem here. So when they blow up some of those boats coming out of Venezuela or Colombia or anywhere else down in South or Central America, well, I have no remorse whatsoever over that. The product that they bring into this country has killed more people than you can really count and keep track of. Destroyed more families and lives than anything. So I am good with them being taken out. I just wish they'd go ahead and take out the darn complexes in Mexico where all these drug cartels are actually based. Go get them. Another thing that I support, and this is the only thing that I will support from Elon Musk, okay? His constant attacks on trans people are only because he hates his trans daughter. So he's using his power and influence to go after trans people and trans care because he can't stand the fact that he has a transgender daughter. But I do applaud him for wanting to get to the moon and have a base there, a base of operations, maybe even a city. I do applaud him for wanting to get humanity to Mars because we need to do that. We need that. It will give us a focus and a purpose beyond just our immediate lives here. that enable us to advance greater technologies in science and industry and move us forward away from this one little place and maybe give us a chance of actually survival into the future, make us multiplanetary because we need it. We're going to make this one here pretty uninhabitable on our own by ourselves if we don't start doing something. Now, the science is going to help us change a lot of things and correct a lot of errors and mistakes that we have made. We know that, but you have to go to a place where you can actually do it. So I support those things. I support NASA's efforts to get us into space again. Completely support it. I completely support the science. I do not support not Dr. Kennedy and Dr. Oz. Oh my God. Two quacks who go in and clean out all of the advisory committees that they disagree with, clean them all out, put the people they want on those advisory committees, and then have those advisory committees make pronouncements that Kennedy and Oz want to hear to make it sound official. I want to tell you something. Vaccines work. Vaccines have saved lives. If you don't think so, I just don't know how to tell you. You're not going to, you must be a flat earther too, because I'm going to tell you something. They have worked and worked successfully. And stopping Tylenol, it does nothing for pregnant women, does nothing except cause them more pain. It does not contribute to autism. I'm glad the research is going on to actually do something about it or say something about it or look into it. But there's been so much research done already. We know what it says, but they don't trust any of the scientists anymore. So they go create their own quackery panel and come up with their own assessment. Trans and Tylenol. Oh my God. Yeah. Okay, Jamie. Trans and Tylenol seem to be destroying the world. And Junia, I'll put this up here from you. Probably going to have to do a little bit more research about those so-called drug killings. There's reporting out there that say that these may be fake videos and only for propaganda's sake. I don't think so. I personally do not think that. Well, let me put it like this. I know that the military is capable of doing these kind of things. And I know that they're capable of putting out fake stories in order to do things like that too. But it would not have stayed hidden this long. They would not have been able to keep it a secret this long. And I also know that the narco terrorists do use boats to bring stuff in. They do use low subsurface submarines. I mean, just low, right beneath the surface. Submarines that they've created to bring these things in too. So if these people are on those boats and intel tells us that they left the dock with drugs on board, or there's a narco terrorist leader on board, or anybody like that, if there's drugs on there, I'm all for blowing them freaking out of the water. I don't care about the due process bit of this at all. Those people have caused more death and destruction. Those drugs, those people, those organizations have been the destruction of middle America. I know too many people have lost their lives. I've got family members who have lost their lives. My in-laws have lost their lives as a result of the drugs that come out of these countries. There's not a, on my ex-wife's half family side, they're all gone. Drugs. Gone way before their time. Okay. Hey, I got to run and go see. Just hang on. I'll be right back. Got to sign some papers. Anyway, sorry for the delay there. Had to. So, yeah, I had to sign some papers where a therapist came in to talk with my mom. So it's just funny. She said her name was Ariel, and I went, "You're not a cartoon character. Come on." I said, "I got to run. I got to go back to my show." And I said, "You want to come and join me?" And she said, "What are you talking about?" I said, "Oh, you don't want to know." Junior, yes, I know that those boats don't have that range. They don't have to. They just have to make it out there far enough to transfer or make it to the nearest close port. We've got to get them out of the water. That's my opinion. And I understand that people may think differently, but the evidence suggests that these people are a danger to Americans and family that I know and kids that I know. And I've got a niece right near me right now who is so hooked on that stuff that I am so pissed at these narco terrorists. But I'm also pissed at America because we allow it to come in and haven't done anything about it forever. I'm also pissed at us because we have allowed these things to occur, and our kids and our grandkids and not my kids, as far as I know, none of my kids or grandkids are into all that stuff. Thank goodness they're not around here. But around here in this part of the country, it is a disease. And so if those boats aren't carrying drugs, they need to be broadcasting clearly that they're not. If they're coming out of those ports down there and people have spotted them, our intelligence is there that does all that. If those boats are not narco-terrorist boats and they can prove it, they better be broadcasting with some bright lights. Whenever they leave in the middle of the night, they need to have spotlights all over those boats so they can be seen. Because only then will they be less of a target. But if they pull out and they're running silent or they're running without lights, which these are primarily, if they're doing that, they're doing something illegal, and they're likely carrying drugs to meet up with someone else to get it transferred to somewhere else. I'm going to say destroy the whole darn bunch and go after Maduro. I've got no sympathy for drug terrorists, these narco terrorists. None. I've seen the results of it right here. It has hollowed out this whole place. People who were, I can give you another example. There's a person, my niece who lives next door, boyfriend, the father of my brother's granddaughter, highly skilled, trained, could do anything he wanted to do inside a hospital just about. Was so addicted to drugs that he can't do anything except steal from people. I want to see those people who are providing these drugs to this community destroyed. They have destroyed us, and I don't care. That's harsh, I know. And it goes against a lot of the principles. But these people bringing this stuff in are not Americans. They don't have our interest at heart. They are enabling the destruction of our communities, of our families, of our people. If those boats leave that port and they're doing so in a way that is an attempt to hide, they better figure out a way real fast how to let people know that there's nothing on that boat that is worth being destroyed over. They need to find a way. Absolutely. Blow them out of the freaking water. I've got no use for them. I've seen the results of their handiwork. I had to go identify a brother-in-law. He didn't have the means to take care of himself or to have a decent funeral or anything. I had to go identify him in the hospital morgue. They pulled his body out of a freezer, a temporary freezer, to let me see him. I've got no use for these people. They're bringing these drugs into this country. Blow them the F up. So, yeah, I see what you're saying down here also. Well, it's traditional that when the Coast Guard went after those people, they were treated with decency and respect, and they were not outright killed without cause. Oh, there's cause, all right. There's cause. I'm with Trump on this one. Absolutely. Seen the results. Got no use for that. Going back to the shooting in Dallas, Texas, I don't know what the results are right now. Fox is no longer talking about it. They're back to talking about Turning Point USA. So between Turning Point USA, Charlie Kirk, and this shooting in Dallas this morning, I'm hoping that there are no more trans-identified ways to associate any of us with these horrendous acts taking place against ICE or any other person in this country, because we will end up being rounded up and locked up. And I put myself out there as being on the top of the list. Come on and get me, folks. I'm right here in this holler. I can fix you the best cherry pie around. And a really decadent peanut butter pie, too. And I might even hand you a glass of that sweet tea and just say, well, bless your little heart. See you this evening at 6.